So I'm going to start off by standing on this side of the bench. And just like we've already done before, this time I'm going to try to get this as accurately set up, starting at the waist, because the waist is the curve that is sort of the trickiest to match up nicely. Here, this waist. And we're not really trying to clamp the shit out of it at this point. We're just trying to clamp it so it's fairly tight. And I see it sits tight around there. That's no problem. So I'll put another caul over here. That's nice all the way around till there. That's good. I'm going to check to see if it's still sitting nice and flat on my table. It is. It's good. Put another one here in this corner. I used to make my my mold square. A lot of guys make their mold square, but I find that if I at least give them some angles like this, it's good. More recent ones I have are just perfectly shaped to be perpendicular to the curves, and that makes it even easier. And that's pretty nice. Like I'll put one here. Maybe do I need to even? I don't know, I will anyway. Now as you can see, it's a little trickier because it's on this corner. It wants to slide a little. But that's pretty good. This side's pretty good. So then what I'm going to do is take this big clamp, and as you can see there's a gap. It's like 1/4 inch wide. It's directly underneath where the neck is going to sit. It will cause no trouble whatsoever. Don't ever worry about it. Put one big clamp down here, smack dab in the middle of my form. My form was cut out of wood that's supposed to be symmetrical, so it should be pretty good. Notice I have this caul on the inside. That way I don't have to worry about damaging my my toe heel block. And I'm trying to have these on a bit of an angle. That way I'm going to have access to this portion here as well. This is the back of the guitar. This is not the front of the guitar. Just to take that into consideration. If you want, just unless you have a really super curvy guitar, usually just one flat caul like that is pretty good. And then I'll put this guy on the inside. And that's my dry run for gluing, and it should be good. So I will take these 5 clamps off. I'm going to leave these other ones here. They're good where they are. But I'll take these 5 clamps off, and I'll put a thin film of glue on, and I'll glue that. I'll show you how to do it right away. But before I show you how to do that, the other thing we want to do is take another pile of these sticks. This sits nicely there. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to hold this in place like so. Put another one over here. And then, let's see. Now, because I know that these 2 clamps are holding this in place. Oh, more power outage, eh? I can remove one of these on each side. I'll grab a couple more. I'm going to snag them from this bench here. I'll give you guys each 4 more. There's 4. I'm going to put them right here. Just 4 more clamps. Then go all the way around, continually checking the bottom of my side or my ribs to make sure that it's fitting nicely against the base of the guitar or the bench.
Put a block in?
A block in. Yeah, I'm gonna make a. Oh, I didn't put a block in it. I put. See, I'm getting tired. This is like a little bit of fatigue. I got the camera. Nice.
The camera's backwards.
Filming myself.
There we go. So now it's fitting nicely around the perimeter. It's nice, smooth, and fluid. If you're building with the Spanish method, you can't get as fluid a line as you can with form. So this Pioneer here. Sometimes you'll find that there's blocks here that have a little chunk of glue. Before we use them for laminating, we'll want to remove that glue because it'll dent your veneers. This is pretty nice, so I'll put another clamp over here. It's pretty good. Put another one over here. So it's nice and tight around the perimeter. It's nice and close to the base. There's an 1/8 of an inch gap down here. Believe it or not, it's not a huge ordeal because the rim is actually flush against the mold of the guitar, and that little portion there will end up getting sanded away or covered in binding. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. I've got lots of extra clamps here, and so what I can do is I can take this clamp, I can move it over here. I can take this clamp, I can move it over here. That should be alright. So it's nice and fluid. I've got very little gappage if I have anything at all, and that's pretty much what you want. So now I've got these floppy guys hanging around. I'm going to take my end block, and I will fit the end block to this curve now. So that's the next step. The same method as before. If you would prefer to trace it somehow with the mold, you can, but on all of our guitars, it's pretty close to flat. The Martins and this style Gibson, it's just a tiny bit of a rounded portion. So you know, we can take a pencil and trace the top here and cut that down, make sure it's square on the ends. So, but I'll pause with that. I'm going to go straight to gluing now. And where's my glue? My glue, there's a number of bottles of glue in the shop. Okay, thanks. There's a few over there too, so we're good. So I'll keep all those other clamps in place. Now I'm going to take these 5 out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. Now, if you really want to make sure that your block is not sliding around, one thing you can do is you can use drywall screws to keep it in the correct spot. And that's about the right amount of glue right there. James, if you want to take a quick peek, like so.
Okay.
You got it. Any excess, just wipe it under the bench. No one will know. Old man Ham doesn't care. Make sure if you put your serial number in there, make it so it's upside down. Slide it. If you do not have a center line marked and extrapolated on the corner, you want to make sure that you have it put in position. And then I'll get it pulled in right there. And then I'm going to grab a pair of drywall screws and cordless drill with my Phillips bit. You know that Americans call this the star?
Really?
Yeah. And they call the Robertson the square head, of course.
But
and it's not centered right now.
It's not a star.
No, you're right. It's a crisscross of some sort. Crisscross is gonna make you jump. That's pretty close. You know, it's off maybe 0.5 millimeter. That's fine. That's as center as it needs to be. So then I'll go back to my big clamp. Now I know my call's not gonna, or my toe heel block is not gonna slide around. So I'll tighten that up, like so. Take these guys, tighten them up. There's gonna be a little bit of squeeze out, which is fine. That means we've got enough glue. I always tell this one story because it's crazy. My one friend, he got into guitar making and he got a whole pile of maple from his grandfather, or his wife's grandfather. So he wanted to make sure that every guitar was perfect, so he sanded the shit out of each join with like 320 grit sandpaper. And then he used glue very sparingly, so he had no squeeze out to worry about. And he clamped every join as humanly possibly tight as he could, and within he built a batch of 3 guitars, and within 6 months all 3 guitars fell apart. Like every joint came apart, like they just fell apart. So the moral of the story is
You're not supposed to over clamp either.
yeah, don't over clamp, just get it clamped tight, but not to the point where, you know, anything's gonna die. And that should be good. I look down the edge there, I see some drip out, squeeze out. I'll clean it up in a bit. But it's sitting where it should. So I'm happy. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut and fit this block just like the previous one. And so you guys glue this guy, and then, or fit the sides perfectly into the form, and then glue the toe heel block. Then we'll fit this guy and glue it. And then we'll run our necks through the drum sander and thickness them to 750 thou. And that will give us 70 thousandths of an inch of extra room to play with for neck thickness. So you can still get a nice thick neck if you want, or you can take it down nice and thin. And then we'll cut our scarf joins and glue those. Then we can call it a night. Cool?